After Lucid presented its vehicles at the unveiling event on September 9th, we learned a lot about their upcoming cars. But there were some gaps in the information and many questions that needed to be answered. So I got in touch with Peter Rawlinson, the CEO of Lucid, and did an interview with him to try and get more information on their technologies. So sit tight and let's begin. Hello and welcome to EV Source. My name is Harry and I'm your host for today's dose of EVs and technology. If you've been following the news on Lucid Air, then you probably agree with me that it's not only a beautiful car, but it also boasts some amazing stats that have many people being quite skeptical about it. A healthy dose of skepticism is always welcomed, but I wanted to put my personal skepticism to rest, so I set an interview with the man himself, who's behind the amazing Lucid Air, which is set to hit production in spring of 2021. Now, we did experience some technical difficulties with the audio that made it a little bit difficult to understand what he was saying, so I had to put subtitles in for the entire interview. They're not perfect, but they do make it easier to understand what's being discussed. So apologies for the bad audio and for not so perfect subtitles. Now let's jump right into the interview. Hi Peter. Really excited to talk to you today about your company and the technologies that you have been developing for your vehicle. And first of all, let me begin by saying thank you for taking the time to do this interview, and congratulations on designing an astonishing car.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me, Harry. It's a great pleasure to join you. Thank you.
So since we are very tight on time, I'm just going to jump straight to the questions if you don't mind.
Oh, great.
Okay, so first of all, let's just start with some general company related questions. How many pre-orders have you received to date for each model? Can you share some numbers?
Well, I can't be really specific, but I can say I'm delighted. We've got many thousands. And it's a real pre-orders because people put down up to $7,500 to order in the instance of a dream edition. So this isn't just like click 5 tons, I've ordered 5 for free. These are real money down, and many thousands.
Okay. And you've gotten orders for each model or just some of them? Because I know
It's a nice spread, yeah.
Nice spread, okay.
Dream edition, which is coming spring 21.
Right. Well, what are your thoughts about going from concept to mass scale production? Elon has, as you probably know, Elon has made references to this being the hottest task for any car manufacturer. So how are you dealing with this? Are you still on target?
Well, we came up with our alpha cars, which are beyond the concept. Some people have got just concept cars.
Right.
We came out with alpha cars a few years ago, and which were sort of 80% production representative. We're currently completing a run of 80 beta prototypes. Many people don't realize we've got nearly 80 beta prototypes, which are 95% production representative. The next step is to go to what we call RCs, release candidates. And those are true pre-production cars to mimic the production process, where we fine-tune the process and the build quality. We're starting building those late this year. Late November, early December. We can commission our paint shop around November the 20th in our new factory, and we start building our release candidates late this year. So that's the next step. And then we fine-tune that process, and then that morphs through February and March into start of production proper. So I don't see this as a huge jump into the deep end, as it were. This is a series, a sequence of very structured baby steps to get us there.
So do you expect any changes to the vehicles before they hit the production line?
Not in terms of anything that a customer would really recognize aesthetically or design-wise. But right now, there's literally hundreds of small changes taking place. we've got a list of what we call ECRs, engineering change requests, and they're going through as the engineering teams are fine-tuning and making detailed revisions to the fit and finish of parts with suppliers, learning from our prototypes. Now, if you didn't have that process, you wouldn't have the time to embody all the learning from the beta fleet of prototypes that we're currently completing and get that learning into the production cars.
Before I ask more questions about the batteries, I have a couple of questions about the powertrain. What can you tell us about the powertrain? Because from what I can tell from the unveiling event is that it's quite compact and lightweight. So how did you do this while having high efficiency and high power output? And before you answer this, I've heard rumors that you're using permanent magnet synchronous motors. Does this have anything to do with it?
Oh yes, absolutely. The permanent magnet synchronous motors are more efficient, and Tesla has pioneered their use, moving from induction motor with the early Model S, introducing the PM motor with Model 3, and so on and so forth. But it's not just that we've got a PM synchronous motor, it's the most advanced of its type in the world. It is significantly more advanced than anything else out there. For its power output, it's 2.5 times more compact than the nearest competitor, for example. And that's really important to get the compactness and the efficiency. The efficiency to give us range, and the compactness to make the space concept of the vehicle work. And really, I took a huge gamble, really, with the whole space concept, because we designed a car from the ground up on the premise that we would be able to miniaturize the drive units and the battery pack to a lesser degree. And the space concept is the notion that Lucid Air is smaller on the outside, more compact. It's smaller than even a Porsche Taycan on the outside. Yet people think it's this huge car because they see pictures of the spacious interior. And it's a natural sort of psychological step to think, oh goodness, that must be a huge car on the outside. And it's not. But we've got a car which is shorter and narrower than Taycan, and a Model S actually, with more interior space than an S-Class Mercedes long wheelbase. And one of the key enablers has been this miniaturization of the drive unit. And when I refer to a drive unit, I mean motor, inverter, transmission, and differential, the whole thing. And our drive units are 74 kilos and 650 horsepower. We're achieving over 40 horsepower per litre. And that's not at motor level, that's a complete drive unit level, the 4 elements. Achieving 40 horsepower per litre at a motor level is one thing, but that's including the inverter, the motor, the differential, and the transmission. So these are two of the aspects that we've really pursued with the drive unit, the miniaturization and the efficiency. But there's a third which I haven't really been able to demonstrate yet, and it's less tangible, but will come to bear. And that is we've designed for truly mass production. And that's perhaps the least expected dimension of our technology, because after all, we're designing a relatively lower volume, higher end product to start with. But my passion is to help mankind really transition to sustainable mobility. We're only going to do that with true mass producible designs. And that's what we've really focused upon with the Lucid Air Powertrain, our drive units. Now, I've not been able to show anyone outside the company what's inside those drive units yet. We've shown some computer graphics giving a sneak peek, but it's still fairly top secret what's in there, because there's some very, very special technology. There's stuff that no one else has ever done before. And closer to start of production, I will open the box. I promise I'll open the box and show the world what we've done and how amazing the technology is in there. But there's a reason why I have to keep that secret right now, because the competitors would be onto it in a flash.
How does Lucid's battery future look like? As you probably know, Tesla is taking very aggressive steps to increase its battery production in order to meet global demand, while they're driving the costs down. So, does Lucid have plans to do something similar? Will the company make its own battery cells one day, perhaps?
I'd love to. We're too small. We're back where Tesla was back in 2011, 2012 as a company now. Tesla didn't have a gigafactory for batteries. It couldn't have afforded it. We're at that stage. We're really developing our plans in that respect right now. Right now, we have to use world-class partners. I'm very delighted to be partnering with LG Chem. We've also got, of course, a great relationship with Murata. Our racing packs for the World Championship of single-seater electric racing, Murata supply the cells for that. I think we need to draw a differentiation here, Harry. I think there's a big difference between pack level supply and cell level. You know, if you look at Chevy Bolt, LG Chem supplies in the complete system effectively. With Lucid, LG Chem supplies us with cells, co-developed cells. The pack technology is entirely 100% Lucid's technology at pack level. The way those cells are put together to create a battery pack is our technology, and I believe it is significantly more advanced than anyone else's in the world. We use end cooling, for example. Tesla's don't use it without end cooling. There's talk that they might get towards end cooling. They use side cooling, even for Model 3. End cooling is the next generation technology. That's the tech that we use in Formula E racing and the technology that we're using on Lucid Air. Cells don't like to transmit heat sideways. They like to transmit heat axially. It's a bit like thinking about a carpet. If you roll up a rug or a carpet into a spiral, now if you sort of blew hot air down into that spiral, the air wants to come out down the end of that rolled up carpet. It doesn't want to come out sideways through the carpet because the carpet's a very good insulator. This is the best analogy I can make.
Yeah.
Because inside a cylindrical cell, there's this jelly roll which is rolled up, a bit like how you roll up a rug. You get a carpet into a roll to take it away. And actually that transfer of heat along the length of the cell can be about 20 times better than the sideways heat transfer. So, but the worst place you can try to cool a cell is the side of the cell. You do not want to cool it from its side. And yet Tesla packs are all cooled on the side. And there's other reasons. It's not just the heat transfer. It's the geometry of trying to match curved surfaces to get a consistent contact area. Getting a contact over a flat end of something is much more repeatable and consistent. So we're using end cooling for Lucid Air, which is the next generation technology. And that's just one example. And of course, then you don't have to run tubes between the cells. So you can put all the cells close together in a 60-degree honeycomb pattern. And that's one of the reasons our packs are more compact than Tesla's.
So I have a few questions about your autonomous self-driving technology. We didn't hear too much about it during the unveiling, except that we did see that you have cameras and LiDAR. So is Lucid making its own autonomous hardware and software, or is there a partnership with another company?
We've got partnerships in place. So we've got the most comprehensive sensing suite for self-driving that we're aware of. We've got 32 sensor suite, including 120-degree LiDAR. So we're fusing LiDAR, surround view radar with long-range radar and cameras. We have about 14 cameras on the car, including driver monitoring. So we have the most comprehensive sensing suite. We have supercomputing processing capability on board. and a 2 terabyte data storage. And so this is an awesome system. The team is led by Dr. Eugene Lee, who I recruited from GM Hyundai, and he really is known as the father of GM Super Cruise. So we have an awesome team, and we're building that in-house. But Harry, I'm aware of the enormity of this task. And, you know, we're starting an electric car company. We're going to come out with an awesome car next spring with the best sensor suite on the market. And we're going to catch up pretty fast on the software side through 2021 and 22. And we will get there. We can't do it, literally cannot, as a little company, do everything to really sort of be ahead of the competition in every respect on the car right now. I believe that our powertrain, I know that our powertrain is 17% more efficient than the nearest competitor, the leader in electric vehicles. So we're considerably ahead in terms of our core EV technology. I believe we've got the lead in terms of autonomous driving and ADAS sensing and sensor fusion. We need then to push like crazy over the next 2-3 years on the software side.
What's the current status of the factory you're building? Is it? Yeah, go ahead.
So we started construction just on a piece of dirt in Arizona in December last year, and last month in September we actually had cars coming down a pilot line, a prototype line in the factory. We've pretty well finished construction of the buildings now in the car park. We've even got cacti planted in the borders of the car park. It's at that level. I was discussing what flag posts we put outside this morning with the team. We're still fitting out the final touches to the equipment inside the factory. Right now we're doing something called TTO, tooling tryout, and that's where the robots are just tweaked. They're fed production tool parts for the first time, because up to now they've only been fed some prototype parts. So you start feeding the robots the actual parts, and there's slight differences, and the robots have to be just adjusted so that they fit and they can feel their way assembling the actual parts they're going to be fed with in production. That's the tooling tryout, the TTO. And we're doing that now, so the robots are twitching and moving and being fine-tuned. We're bringing up the paint shop in the 3rd week of November. We've got a state-of-the-art Dur paint shop, German paint shop, truly the best you can get. We've made a big investment in our paint building. You see 2 buildings in pictures of our factory. Together we can make 34,000 units a year with those 2 buildings. But we've designed the whole architecture like a game of chess, really. We've got a 4-phase plan for that site, and we can take that up to nearly 400,000 units a year. Now, what we've done is chosen to invest in a really significant paint shop. That's the big building you see in the background of the pictures of our site. And that structure is big enough to have a paint shop which will serve the full 400,000 units in 5-6 years' time. We've made that long-term investment. And that's really exciting. That's coming to life, the first phase of that paint shop, late November. And we'll have painted bodies probably the last few days of November, leading into our RC build there in December. It's really close now.
Now, this was just a small part of what was almost an hour-long interview, and we went over a lot more questions and discussions during the interview. So if you want to watch the whole interview, you can see it on our Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Once again, we are at the end of the video, and if you're still here, you are amazing. If you own a Tesla, get 10% off on your accessories when shopping at Abstract Ocean with the code EVSource. Also, don't forget to check out our merch store for shirts, hoodies, and more. And if you would like to show more support for the channel, consider becoming a patron and get access to exclusive content such as Q&As and behind the scenes. But in the end, the best form of support is having you watch and like these videos. And of course, a shout out to our patrons you see on the screen, and a special shout out to our power producer Inku Kang. This form of support helps in creating more and better content that you get to watch for free. Thanks for watching. My name is Harry and this is EV Source. Keep charging ahead and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe and take care.